My fiancée said, I took out a $75,000 loan in your name for our wedding. Surprise. It's going to be amazing. I replied, You sure know how to surprise me. Then I reported identity theft and fraud when federal agents arrested her during her dress fitting for wire fraud and forgery. I'm a 36-year-old man sitting in my apartment, staring at paperwork from the FBI, still trying to comprehend how the woman I was set to marry in 3 months is now facing federal charges. Just 2 weeks ago, my fiancée Natalie, 33, wrecked our future with what she called a surprise gift. We had been together for 4 years and engaged for 1. The wedding was scheduled for September. Nothing extravagant, maybe 80 guests, a nice venue, the whole package. We had agreed on a $25,000 budget. I had saved $15,000, and she said she had $10,000. It seemed reasonable. Then came the Thursday that changed everything. I was working from home when Natalie burst in at lunchtime, practically bouncing with excitement. Baby, I have the most fantastic surprise. Our wedding is going to be perfect. She pulled out her iPad, showing me photos of a luxury venue upgrade, a designer dress that cost more than my car, a 7-tier cake, and a celebrity wedding planner. Flowers imported from Ecuador. Nat, this looks amazing, but we can't afford it. That's the surprise, she beamed. I got us a loan. We had agreed to avoid debt for the wedding. But listen, it's in your name, so the interest rate is better. Your credit is excellent, and mine is still recovering from student loans. It's practical. My blood ran cold. What do you mean it's in my name? She pulled out a folder, loan documents. $75,000. My name, my social security number, my forged signature. I practiced your signature for weeks to make it perfect. Isn't that romantic? I stared at her in disbelief. This woman genuinely thought that forging my signature on a $75,000 loan was romantic. Natalie, you committed fraud. Her smile faded. It's not fraud. We're getting married. What's yours is mine. We're not married yet. Even if we were, forgery is still illegal. You're overreacting. I did this for us. I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and locked the door. I called my brother, who is a cop. He confirmed what I already knew. This was identity theft, wire fraud, forgery, federal crimes. While Natalie pounded on the bedroom door, cry about how I was ruining everything, I did 3 things. First, I called the bank and reported the fraudulent loan and checked my credit report. She had also opened 2 credit cards that I didn't know about. Third, I called the FBI's fraud hotline. The agent I spoke with was very interested when I mentioned the amount and that it crossed state lines since the loan was from an online lender based in another state. The next morning, while Natalie was at her yoga class, I went to the FBI field office with every document I could find, the loan papers, the credit card statements, and screenshot of her text admitting to everything. She had even bragged to her bridesmaids about her brilliant solution. Special Agent Rodriguez took one look at the forged signatures and whistled. She really thought this was okay. She thinks we're getting married, so it doesn't count. That's not how the law works. They opened a federal investigation immediately. Wire fraud over $50 is a serious federal offense. The forged signatures were almost perfect. She had clearly practiced extensively, indicating premeditation. When I got home, Natalie was there with her mother, Barbara, and sister, Carly. How dare you? Barbara shouted. Natalie told us she called the FBI on your own fiancé. She committed fraud, Barbara. She was planning your wedding with money she stole by forging my signature. Carly chimed in, It's not stealing if you're getting married. God, you're so dramatic. Natalie was crying those perfect manipulation tears. I just wanted our day to be perfect. Every girl dreams of her perfect wedding. Every girl doesn't commit federal crimes to get it. You're really going to ruin my life over this? You ruined your own life when you forged federal loan documents. Barbara threatened to tell everyone what a monster I was. Everyone will know you had your fiancé arrested. Good. Tell them why while you're at it. I served Natalie formal eviction papers, since she wasn't on the lease. She had 30 days to leave. The screaming that ensued probably violated several noise ordinances. But the best part? Natalie tried to use one of the fraudulent credit cards she had opened in my name to hire a lawyer. It was declined because I had already frozen them. The entitlement escalated quickly. Natalie moved back in with her parents, but didn't go quietly. First, she attempted emotional manipulation, showing up at my work with flowers, crying, "Please just tell them it was a misunderstanding. We can still get married." Security escorted her out when I called them. Then came the family assault. Her father, Richard, called me. This man, who had been mostly silent throughout our relationship, suddenly had a lot to say. "Son, let's be reasonable. Natalie made a mistake. A big one, sure, but dropping the charges is the right thing to do." "I didn't press charges, Richard. The federal government did. Once you report fraud of this magnitude, it's out of my hands. There has to be something you can do." "There is. I'm cooperating with the investigation." "You're destroying her future over wedding planning." "She destroyed her own future with wire fraud." He hung up on me. Then Barbara tried a different approach. She actually offered me a bribe, coming to my apartment with a check for $10,000. "This should cover your troubles. Just tell the FBI it was a misunderstanding." "Barbara, you're attempting to bribe a federal witness. That's also a crime." Her face went pale. "You wouldn't dare report me." "Try me." She left quickly after that. But Natalie wasn't finished. She started a social media campaign, posting about how her abusive ex was trying to ruin her life because she wanted a nice wedding. The comments were divided. Some people bought it, while others pointed out that fraud is still fraud. Then she made her fatal mistake, creating fake emails supposedly for me admitting I knew about the loan and approved it. She sent these to the FBI agent handling the case, thinking it would get her off the hook. Special Agent Rodriguez called me within an hour. "Your fiancée just added falsifying evidence and obstruction of justice to her charges." The emails came from an IP address traced directly to her parents' house. The arrest happened 3 days later. I received a call from Agent Rodriguez at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. "We're arresting Miss Morrison this afternoon. Thought you should know where." Well, according to her social media, she has a wedding dress fitting at 3 p.m. at Bella's Bridal. The irony was perfect. I didn't go to watch, but I heard about it from everyone. Federal agents entered Bella's Bridal, while Natalie was literally standing on the pedestal in a $12,000 dress bought with one of the fraudulent credit cards. Her bridesmaids, her mom, her sister, everyone was there, according to witnesses. She tried to run in a wedding dress with a train and made about 10 feet before tripping. The arrest video went viral because one of her bridesmaids live-streamed it, thinking she was documenting the dress fitting. The comments were brutal. LMAO, she really thought forging signatures was okay. The way she fell in that dress. Imagine committing felonies for a wedding. Barbara attempted to fight the agents and got herself arrested for obstruction. Carly filmed it all while screaming about injustice and true love. The local news picked it up. Bride to be arrested at dress fitting for $75,000 fraud scheme. That's when other victims started coming forward. It turns out I wasn't Natalie's first victim. Once the arrest made the news, 3 of her exes reached out to me. Tom, who dated her from 2018 to 2019, said she had taken out credit cards in his name and racked up $20,000. He paid it off just to make her go away because she threatened to tell everyone he was abusive if he reported it. Miguel, from 2016 to 2017, said she had forged his signature on apartment lease documents and skipped out, leaving him with months of unpaid rent. She claimed it was romantic, that she wanted to live somewhere nice for them. Derek, from 2015, said she had actually sold his car while he was on a business trip and used the money for a shopping spree. Title fraud. He had been too embarrassed to report it. We all met at a bar, for guys whose lives had been turned upside down by the same woman. Derek brought receipts. He had kept everything, including text messages where Natalie admitted to selling his car, but accused him of being materialistic for caring about a stupid vehicle more than their love. We created a shared document with all our evidence and sent it to the FBI. The investigation expanded and more federal charges were added. The prosecutor called it a pattern of fraudulent behavior spanning nearly a decade. Barbara, out on bail from her obstruction charge, called me crying. You've destroyed our family. Natalie's looking at years in prison. Natalie destroyed herself. Barbara, I just stopped being victim number 5. She only wanted nice things. Is that a crime? The fraud part is, yeah, you could have just paid for the wedding with what? The money she stole from me. You're supposed to provide for your wife. She's not my wife. Thank God. The engagement ring. Natalie refused to return it, claiming it was a gift. I had to take her to small claims court to get it back. She showed up in a white dress and told the judge that keeping the ring was compensation for emotional distress. The judge, an older woman who had clearly seen everything, looked at her over her glasses. Ma'am, you're facing federal fraud charges. The ring goes back to him. Natalie screamed that the system was rigged against women who just wanted love. The federal trial was set for 6 months out, but the drama didn't stop. Natalie, out on bail with an ankle monitor, decided her best defense was to prove we were spiritually married and therefore the fraud wasn't real. She hired a spiritual advisor found on Craigslist, who declared that our souls were bonded in the celestial realm, and thus the loan was technically in both our names. She tried to submit this as evidence. Her public defender looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Then came what I now call the coffee shop incident. I was grabbing coffee when Natalie walked in with Carly. She saw me and immediately started crying loudly, dropping to her knees. Why won't you forgive me? I love you. Everyone stared. I tried to leave, but she grabbed my leg. Please tell them it was all a misunderstanding. We can still get married. Natalie, you're violating your bail conditions by contacting me. Love doesn't follow bail conditions. The barista called the cops. Natalie was arrested again, and her bail was revoked. She spent the next 3 months in federal detention. Barbara sent me an invoice for $50,000 for destroying her daughter's life and causing emotional distress to the family. I forwarded it to the prosecutor, who added it to the evidence of the family's pattern of extortive behavior. Richard tried one last time to talk to me man to man. He showed up at my gym. She's facing a minimum of 10 years. You can stop this. No, I can't. She committed multiple federal crimes. She's just a girl who wanted a nice wedding. She's a 33-year-old woman who committed wire fraud. No man will ever love you for doing this to her. I'm okay with men who think fraud is acceptable not loving me. Richard. He actually tried to punch me in a gym surrounded by cameras and witnesses, which added assault charges to the family collection. The trial lasted 3 days. The evidence was overwhelming. The forged loan documents, the fraudulent credit cards, the fake emails she created, text messages admitting to everything, testimony from her previous victims, and the spiritual marriage defense. The judge actually laughed. Natalie took the stand against her lawyer's advice. I did it all for love. How is love a crime? The prosecutor replied, love isn't a crime. Wire fraud is. He was going to marry me. That makes it okay. No, it doesn't. This is discrimination against women. How? A man would never be prosecuted for wanting to provide for his family. A man who committed wire fraud would absolutely be prosecuted. She then claimed I had emotionally manipulated her into committing fraud by not being romantic enough, and that the loans were compensation for emotional labor. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Wire fraud, identity theft, forgery, falsifying evidence, obstruction of justice. The sentencing was harsh. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, tore into Natalie. Miss Morrison, you've shown zero remorse, zero accountability, and zero understanding of your crimes. You've attempted to manipulate this court with elaborate fantasies about spiritual marriage and cosmic bonds. You portrayed yourself as a victim while destroying multiple people's financial lives. You are not a romantic heroine. You are a serial fraudster. 8 years in federal prison. 3 years of supervised release. Full restitution to all victims. Barbara screamed. Carly either fainted or pretended to. Richard had to be restrained by bailiffs. Natalie turned to me as they led her away. I'll wait for you. Our love is eternal. Please get help, Natalie. You're my soulmate. The bailiff dragged her out while she screamed about true love conquering all. Barbara tried to spit on me outside the courthouse, but missed and hit a reporter. It made the evening news. The bank forgave the fraudulent loan, since it was proven I had no knowledge. My credit has been restored. I'm in therapy to deal with the trauma of almost marrying a sociopath who thought fraud was romantic. I still have the engagement ring. Sold it and used the money to take a vacation alone. It was perfect. The other victims and I have a group chat now. We call ourselves the Natalie Survivors Club. Derek just got engaged to someone new. His fiancée finds the whole story hilarious and says it's why she insisted on keeping their finances completely separate until after marriage. Last I heard, Natalie is writing a book from prison about being persecuted for love. Her working title is Fraud and Prejudice, a modern love story. The publisher passed. Barbara and Richard had to sell their house to pay for lawyers and various lawsuits. They blame me, not their daughter, who committed multiple felonies. Carly started a blog about injustice in the justice system. It has 12 followers, mostly family members. The wedding venue kept a deposit, all $5,000 of it, paid with one of the fraudulent credit cards. They're using it as a cautionary tale in their contracts now about why they verify all payment methods. The dress shop is suing Natalie for the $12,000 dress she was arrested in, claiming you can't return a dress that's been in federal custody. As for me, I'm dating again very slowly with extensive background checks. My new girlfriend thinks the story is wild and jokes that she'll only commit misdemeanors for me, not felonies. It's weirdly romantic. The moral of the story? When someone shows you who they are, especially when they're literally committing crimes and calling it love, believe them and run fast. And always monitor your credit report. Always.